following is the agenda for the regular Borough Council meeting of the Borough of Compton Lakes Mayor Council Municipal Corporation of the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7:30 on March 13th, Municipal Building 25 Lenox Avenue, Compton Lakes. Consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, the meeting will be open for public comments and shall be in accordance with the terms and conditions of the borough's municipal code and bylaws.
Please stand for a flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bless this mayor and council as they deliberate on the best of Compton Lakes. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all have requested and paid for same and published in Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sena.
Here.
Council President Dewan.
Here.
Councilman Cruz.
Here.
Councilwoman Henn. Here. Councilwoman Gilmer. Here. Councilwoman Commodore. Here. Councilman Bennett.
Here.
This evening is our Borough Attorney David Gutenberg and our Borough Administrator Michael Correll.
Okay, thank you. Some quick updates. We are all aware of the rains we've had in the last couple of days. The reservoir is still spilling as we talk right now, so fingers crossed the weather holds out and the water lowers down, but everyone should be on their best toes about what's happening if we get some rain moving forward. I know we had some minor flooding over the weekend. One of the areas that I drove around and saw was the Lenox Avenue area there by the middle school. That was pretty much underwater over there. So I'm glad we're going to address that and we're going to work with that because that seems to be a growing problem over there. So just keep in mind that the reservoirs are still spilling at this time. Okay. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
So motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Cruz. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Step up.
Kathy Shortway, Pine Street, Compton Lakes. I've been here before, gone to good meetings. I am here to say again that I think Compton Lakes has a very bad problem of garbage. The town is unsightly, there's garbage everywhere, the garbage cans are overflowing. And again, I do not think that household and business garbage belongs on Wanacue Avenue. It should be in the back of the buildings, which it always was before, because I grew up in this town, graduated from Compton Lakes High School, 50 years ago, over. And it is a real problem. So I know I have mentioned it, it's been talked about on social media, and so I would like to know what's being done to combat this issue, because it's really become a bad issue. And one side note, I went into the new United Transmission and Auto Place on the corner, it used to be Seltzer's Garage, just to ask him about, if he does like brake jobs and stuff like that, because I used to go to Mark Warren and, he's not there anymore. He passed away. But anyway, while we were there, I noticed that he had all cardboard out on the curb line, and I said to him, just curious, I said, why did you put the cardboard on? I said, it's not cardboard pickup. He goes, it's not? And I go, it's not. And he said, it's on the calendar. And so I walked into his office and he showed me on the calendar that it says recycling. And I said, yeah, but you see that tiny print underneath? It said, no paper. And he goes, oh, I didn't know. And I said, yes, you cannot this is not the time to put cardboard out. So he said, is there a place I can bring it to? And I said, yeah. I said, I bring my stuff to the recycling center. I don't wait, for them to pick it up, because I never have a lot, and I hate to make the guys, stop for a garbage can this big and, recycling. So what my point is that here's basically a new business owner. He had no idea that he wasn't supposed to put the paper out, and he had no idea that there was a recycling place that he could bring it to. So I said to him, I explained, he goes, where is it? We walk outside. I said, just go over the tracks, make the second left-hand turn. That's where it is. And he said, oh, okay, then I'll bring it there. I said, yes, bring it there. So I just feel like maybe the new business owners or, people should be more aware that they cannot put the garbage anytime they want. I also went into Liberty Tax Center about my taxes, and the man said to me, we were talking about it, because there was a big pile of garbage, and he said to me, that the tenants come and put their garbage down there anytime they want. So I just think it needs to be more, the people of the town need to be more informed, and I would just like an update on what's going on to combat this issue. Okay?
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. Question for our administrator. From the last hour, he said that the average tax bill on Pump the Lights was $10,700. Now, most people that I talk to, way over that. In order to have that as an average, you have to have a lot of taxes under $10,000, of course. So I was just curious how that average came up from all the residents we have in town. Also, from Shade Tree Commission, I'm under the understanding through the new tree ordinance for the DEP, I guess came through for the state, that we're going to be rewriting our shade tree ordinance. I was curious as to who was on the ordinance committee, how many people, and who makes up that committee, and will the Shade Tree Commission be consulted and have input in that ordinance rewriting? From what I understand, it needs to be rewritten by April. Is that true, Michael? So will the Shade Tree Commission have any kind of input or influence on that rewriting? Also, at our last Shade Tree meeting, Alexa, one of our members, who's a grant writer, informed us about the New Jersey DEP. I've talked with you, Mr. Mayor, quite a few times, and other residents have come in. New Jersey DEP has announced a community-based deer management grant program, which will assist communities in addressing the overabundance of deer in our urban landscape. This program is open to the county and local government units, including municipal parks. Applicants may apply for funding under any of the 4 identified initiatives. The 4 initiatives, one is signage based on hunting programs. Of course, that's way in advance of where we are now. 2 is a deer population density estimate survey, which is something we could have done, and the state will pay for that. Also, a forest health survey. State would come in, check our forests, south end of town, Hurstville Park, and do an assessment on that. And the 4th is a venison donation program. That's way in advance. We're not close to that yet. So if we could maybe get those grants for the deer population density estimate survey or the forest health survey, those grants are due by the 3rd of May. So it's something Michael can look into, possibly. And my last question was, I was down at Joe Brill Field, that large hole by the snack stand. I guess DEP filled it all, the DPW filled it all in. And I was just curious if that was structurally inspected by our building department for the soundness of that building. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Council President Devine?
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, in a short way. Yeah, so, this is an ongoing discussion. We do actually have a meeting this Friday, to discuss some of these issues that you're bringing up. One of the things I realized through somebody telling me was, when we had an environmental officer at Merrill, he was the gentleman going around putting the stickers on all the garbage saying, this is wrong, this is right, your garbage can's too big, it was out too early. He was doing that as the environmental officer. When he retired, we did lose that. So that's something I'm going to bring up at the meeting to see who can be responsible to do that. You mentioned the gentleman didn't know where to move things, but you also said he had a calendar. So if he had a calendar, he had to know what days were pickup. Now, he didn't read it right. That's not my problem. But at the end of the day, in that calendar, it does mention where the recycling center is, how you do it, what time it's open, all those kind of things. But I will speak to the bid, and I'm going to ask, I think, who's the bid? Councilwoman Palladori to mention it at the bid, to the bid, when they meet new businesses, to remind them, hey, remind them where the recycling center is if they want to drop things off. I myself have driven around town. Yesterday, the town was spotless. Today, there's garbage out again. So this is a problem that is not just an easy fix. You say you can put the garbage cans in the back, but on the back side of the pond hole, for example, they don't own any property. That's pond hole property. So they don't have any property behind them. A lot of those stores, some do, but most of them don't. On the other side, we're going to talk about that at the meeting Friday, if our garbage truck can get back there and pick them up and see if that's something that can work. So those are discussions we're going to have this Friday. So we are trying to work with them. Mr. Hinton, the average taxes, yes, there are people, believe it or not, who have taxes less than $10,000 in Pompton Lakes. I have a bunch of friends that have that. And it's, I'm sure Michael didn't just make up the number. I'm going to let him speak in a minute. That is the mean of what it is. The shade tree ordinance is done by the ordinance committee, and Michael, I would leave it up to them and the administrator if they want to include the shade tree committee into that. That's not something we normally do. It's normally done by the ordinance, but I'm sure your liaison will have some information and they can pass it on. If you have any comments, you can pass it back to Herm, and then they can pass it to the ordinance. But I'll let Michael speak about that. The New Jersey grant you talked about, it's the first I'm hearing of it. We have to apply. We'll talk to our grant writer. These grants from the DEP are small. Not everybody gets them. We'll definitely apply for them, and hopefully we can get them. Michael, you want to add anything about anything else?
Yeah, thank you. So just some clarification on the tax bill. The average tax bill is based on the assessed valuation of your home. So that's how the tax bill is calculated. It's essentially the tax levy divided by the assessed value of your home, and that's times by 100, and that's where you get your tax rate from. So that's really what goes into play in terms of what your tax bill is. And we'll have this presentation posted on the website so everyone can see it and fully understand what goes into their tax bill.
If you want to make about the ordinance
Yes, I'm sorry.
and the DEP grant.
Yeah, so with the tree ordinance proposal, I think what we're going to do tonight is we're going to discuss it again as a whole with the council, and then we will have a draft form that's going to be transmitted to the Shade Tree Commission for review and comment before we then introduce the ordinance back here at the council meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
And Joe Grill, yes, we had our engineer look at the structure, and he said it was structurally sound. It was okay to do what we have to do.
Thank you.
And the DEP grant, we'll try to apply for that if we can.
Absolutely.
Yes, okay. Okay. Motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes, February 28, 2024. Closed session meeting minutes, February 28, 2024. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Council President Devine,
Second.
Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Authorizing payment of bills as listed below. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Venin, Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Does anybody need any of the resolutions pulled?
No, go ahead. No, I had the order.
24-153, okay? Any else?
You're on resolutions, correct?
Yes.
I just wanted a little bit more of an explanation on 24-149.
149, okay. Okay, Liz.
Whereas the mayor and borough council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of our proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes does desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. 24-145 through 24-159, we're going to post 24-149 and 24-153.
Okay, motion to approve the resolutions.
So moved.
Council President Devine,
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? 24-149.
Authorizing the cancellation of certain deposits in the tangible property fund.
Mike, you want to address it?
Thank you, Mayor. So what this is occasionally the police department comes upon money as a result of their duties, found money. So the process for that is they must hold it for 6 months, and see if anyone claims the money. And if they don't, after the 6 months, we can then take it in as revenue with the borough. And in this instance, it's for $2,500, and that is what we're doing with this resolution. So it's found money.
Okay.
I wish I found money. That's great.
Thank you.
24-153 while we're talking about it.
Temporary hire of tax collector aide.
Thank you. So unfortunately, our tax clerk in the office had an untimely death in her family, so she did have to take off for a week. So this resolution memorializes our former tax clerk, Mr. Carroll, to come back in the office and help us out. There isn't anyone in the office right now that can currently do the cash deposit duties that's required for the job. That is something we're looking into with one of our employees to serve as a backup, so we don't have to do this again. But unfortunately, this is the instance. Thank you.
Okay, motion approved, do I have to read them individually, or can I put them together?
You can put it together.
Motion to approve 24-149 and 24-153.
Motion.
It's Councilwoman Polidori, Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, ordinance for first reading, or second reading.
Ordinance 2412, an ordinance to fix the salary range of employees of the Borough of Thompson Lakes in the County of Passaic, New Jersey.
Motion to approve ordinance 2412 for introduction.
Motion.
Councilwoman Polidori,
Second.
Council President Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Roll call, I guess, roll call.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Finn.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Finn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
Ordinance 24-13, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Thompson Lakes in establishing fees for dog park and conference bids, sponsorship, and fees for vendors of public events.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-13 for introduction.
Can I ask for discussion on this one?
There's no discussion on that first one. You can ask a question.
I just asked if there was discussion.
There's no real discussion on the first reading.
But you can raise a question.
I have a
Sure.
Oh, question, okay.
Yeah.
Let's do the introduction first, right?
Sure, yeah, for sure.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Councilwoman Polidori, Councilwoman Kent, all, discussion. Go ahead.
So this is, Michael, we rolled everything up into one with the dog park sign is in here?
You're referring to 2411, correct?
No,
2413.
13, yes, we did.
So that is what we talked about as far as the program for purchasing the advertising signs.
Yes, and once it's adopted, we'll be able to roll out the program.
So I looked at your fee schedule for 1, 2, or 3 seasons. It's great. I wasn't sure if it was inadvertently done or if we skipped it. Are we charging a one-time fee to actually make the banner?
That was not discussed, but we can certainly take a look at it before we adopt it.
Okay, because we went back and forth a little bit about the one-time fee, and then if you upped it over and over again, you wouldn't. And I only ask, and I'm fine if we don't, because it keeps the price more advantageous, especially because I'd like to purchase one, but the one season only is $150. Banners are expensive.
Yeah, we'll take a closer look at it before we adopt.
Okay.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Finn.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Finn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
14, an ordinance establishing the annual compensation for members of the Thompson Lakes Municipal Utilities Authority.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-14 for introduction.
So moved.
Council President Devine, Councilwoman Kilburg, all in favor?
Aye.
No, I'm sorry, roll call.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
I recuse.
Is that right wording?
Yes.
Just tell me what we don't know.
You're abstaining.
Oh, abstain.
Yep.
Abstain. Abstain.
Abstain, yes, yeah.
I apologize.
No, it's all right.
Keeping you honest, that's all.
Those
I'm good.
fancy words, you know.
Did you hit everybody, Liz? I don't know, I wasn't.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay, now we're moving on to ordinance 2415, an ordinance accepting a deed of easement for the county of Passaic for the operation of the recycling center.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-15 for introduction.
So moved.
Councilwoman
Second.
Kilberg, Councilman Cruz, roll call, please.
I'm sorry, Ms.
Kilberg and Cruz.
Okay. Councilman Polidori,
Yes.
Councilman Bennett,
Yes.
Councilman Cruz,
Yes.
Councilman Dewan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
And 16, or an ordinance establishing summer day camp fees for 2024.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-16 for introduction.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Councilwoman Polidori, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori,
Yes.
Councilman Bennett,
Yes.
Councilman Cruz,
Yes.
Councilman Dewan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
Ordinance 24-17, an ordinance authorizing tax exemption and payment in lieu of taxes in connection with the redevelopment plan for Block 2600, Lot 2, and authorizing execution of financial agreement for payment in lieu of taxes with Passaic County Affordable Housing Corporation pursuant to state statute.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-17 for introduction.
So moved. Second.
Who was it? Councilwoman Kilberg and Councilman Cruz. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori,
Yes.
Councilman Bennett,
Yes.
Councilman Cruz,
Yes.
Councilman Dewan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance for second reading amendment advertised and posted on the municipal bulletin board. Bond ordinance providing the improvement of various roads in and by Borough of Compton Lakes in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, appropriating $890,000, therefore authorizing issuance of $627,457 bonds or notes of the borough for financing such appropriation.
Motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 24-10.
So moved.
Council President DeWine,
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone like to, against? Anyone like to address just this ordinance? Seeing no one, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 24-10.
So moved.
Councilman
Second.
DeWine, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve ordinance 24-10 for final adoption.
So moved.
Councilman DeWine,
Second.
Council President DeWine. Councilwoman Kilberg, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Polidori,
Yes.
Councilman Bennett,
Yes.
Councilman Cruz,
Yes.
Councilman Dewan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
Ordinance 24-11, ordinance amending chapter 4 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Compton Lakes and establishing a fee for sponsorship of community welcome signs.
Motion to open the meeting for public comment on ordinance 24-11.
So moved.
Council President DeWine,
Second.
Councilwoman Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone like to address just this ordinance? Please step up.
Randy Hitton, 443 Montclair Avenue. Where are these welcome signs gonna be? The entrance to town at
Same place
4 or
as they
5
are,
different locations?
same place as they basically are now. Same place as they basically are now. We're just replacing them.
I'll just replacing the sign? Okay. This is any business can put a sign up?
It's not a, well, I'll let Michael Moore talk about, you have the sponsorship on that, right, correct, Mike? You have to buy a sponsorship for this.
Yeah, Pompton Lakes-based business only for sponsorship. There are 3 new locations that will be added that currently don't have welcome signs. And then we'll have 2 larger signs at the corner of Thatcher McGee's and at the corner by George's Deli on Hamburg Turnpike.
Where are the 3 new locations?
I could tell you that they're all posted on the borough website. If you search community welcome signs, I'd have to defer back to the list. But we found that there were 3 spots that didn't have a sign. could have been knocked down in the near past. So, we're looking to replace those.
Like Colfax Ave coming in from Oakland,
Yes.
possibly? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 24-11.
So moved.
Council President Devine, Councilwoman Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve ordinance 24-11 for final adoption.
Motion.
Councilwoman Polidori,
Second.
Councilwoman Kent, roll call, please.
Councilman Colville.
Yes.
Councilman Dean.
Yes.
Councilman Dean.
Yes.
Councilman Vaughn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, under my report, well, we got some good news. The congressman called me last week and announced that we will be receiving a grant of $500,000 to redo our library. They're just waiting on the signature, believe it or not, from the president to sign the bill. I guess he's worried about Pompton Lakes here. But once he signs that, we will be receiving money for $500,000 to redo our library, which is great. The other thing that he had gotten, this what was mentioned already, was $240,000 in a fireman's grant and another $13,000 in a fireman's grant. So we've received quite a bit of money in the last 6 months. And I have to thank the congressman and his team for doing everything they can to make that happen. We're involved in many finance meetings in the last 2 weeks, personnel meetings, to talk about the flooding a little bit. Once again, we flooded minorly in some areas in town. We had a meeting about a month ago now with all the sports organizations on how we can help them get back to playing, especially baseball, which starts in the next couple weeks. Thank you to our DPW for taking it on. It was a lot of work. They've been trying to get down there on after hours and early hours to fix it up. And like one of the residents mentioned, they've already refilled the hole in and replaced it. We are going to hire a group to come in and take care of one of the ball fields and clay and replace that. We've already been to Carlo Field and cleaned up that area and got new stone down in their parking lot. So, we're trying to help as best we can here. We know our volunteers do a great job, but they can't do this by themselves. So we're going to see if we can help them there. And then the last one would be soccer and lacrosse, which play a little later, so we're going to help them in a little bit. But I have to thank Dan and the DPW and all the workers for putting the time and effort in there. They've been coming in on the weekends sometimes to make that happen because they do have to get to their work. I attended a whiskey tasting for the Pompton Lakes Education Foundation to raise some money for them. It was a great event at Monica's. They raised a lot of money for the PLEF. If you're not familiar with that, it's a volunteer organization that raises money for the schools. And once they raise the money, they then set little grants to the teachers of what they're looking for, and then they pay for those items outside of the school budget. So it's a great opportunity for the teachers and the school and the parents to work together and get what they need, and they've gotten some great things from that number. Like I mentioned before, I did drive through, and I just was going to ask Michael about this. I know it's on the area being fixed, but what are we looking at on the Lennox side there with the flooding issues? Are they cleaning out the drains? Are they redoing the road?
Thank you, Mayor. So we dispatched the borough of Ringwood to do a storm drain clean out. So that was the first phase. Then we contacted the city of Clifton because we have a shared service agreement with them to TV the lines to do a camera inspection. Unfortunately, that was the day of heavy rain, so that got postponed. I believe that is happening early next week. We, at tonight's council meeting, we retained our engineer to do a very in-depth analysis of the ponding and flooding issues, something that needs to be fixed before we pave the road this spring. So we're looking to expedite that as quickly as possible.
Okay, because I think that's needed. It's gotten worse and worse over the last couple of years. And, it's becoming, we actually closed down the road this last Saturday because you couldn't drive through it. And that is my report. Council President Devine.
Thank you, Mayor. Once again, I want to thank Michael for the budget presentation. Again, if the residents weren't here, it's important information. It'll be up on our website. It'll be up on our social media channels, but definitely check it out. It's clearly well beyond anything that we've been given in the last 10 years or so. First of all, we just mentioned it, but I'm glad to see that we are going forward with the stormwater study for Lennox and Ramapo Avenue. It's been a long time coming, and it's good timing considering that we are looking to repave Lincoln Avenue in the near future. We need to address that before we
we mill and pave that roadway. Coming up this Sunday, March 17th at 2 p.m., Trails Maintenance is going to be doing their first of seasonal cleanups. We are meeting at the Red Trails entrance at the end of Lincoln Avenue near the MUA. I brought this up the last time we had a major storm event. We once again had heavy rainfall, although most of it was any water that went over the banks was at the Wanacue River, not necessarily along the Pequannock, is closer to where the trails are. But still, there is a lot of garbage on the trails that needs to be cleaned up, so I encourage everyone to attend. I know Columbia Bank plans to attend, the Pompton Lakes Environmental Club plans to attend, and I believe Zonta Club as well. So what they say is many hands make light work, so we appreciate anyone that can show up this Sunday at 2 p.m. Earlier this week, or last week actually, met with 7 Equities developers for a meet and greet. They are the new owners of Lakeside Commons. They have a track record of actual redevelopment projects, and they just wanted to meet some people in Pompton Lakes and kind of understand what's going on in Pompton Lakes. So it was a good discussion. Nothing specific was discussed. They're not necessarily have a particular project in mind, but I think it's just more of a case of as redevelopment occurs, there becomes more interest in redevelopment. And if you were here for the budget presentation, the pilot programs are necessary as we try and balance our budget on an annual basis. It's an important aspect of closing that budget gap, especially what we just experienced this year. And to that point, next Thursday, March 21st, is the redevelopment meeting at 7:30 p.m. We just did introduce an ordinance to pass a payment in lieu of taxes for the Passaic County Senior Housing Project. That'll actually, I anticipate it'll actually be in front of the redevelopment agency this Thursday. We've gotten a concept plan from them, but I think at this point we'll actually be reviewing the site plan application and what they're planning on doing. So again, that's next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you. I forgot to make a motion, so I'm going to go back to the motion. Motion to appoint Ashley Lusick as healthcare professional member to the Pompton Lakes Prevention Coalition for unexpired term 2012-31-24. Can I have a second? Second? Maria? Sue? Oh, Councilwoman Palladori? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Councilman Bennett?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to echo my peer's comment to thank Michael Corelli for the budget presentation. It was very informative. The infographic I mentioned is very, very useful, and I look forward to seeing that on social media. And I just want to add on the trails maintenance on this Sunday, March 17th, just to bring gloves, if you have shovels, just to help clean up stuff, be helpful. That's my report. That's all I have.
Oh, that's what, yeah.
That's all I have.
I was just talking about that. So we have bags and we also have some gloves if some people need
Oh,
gloves.
excellent.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Cruz?
Thank you, Mayor. My report's going to cover the March 5th and the March 12th meeting, so I'm going to start with the March 5th. In the meeting, there was a presentation given by the curriculum department for the Lakeside Middle School Character Education Program. I'm just going to read a brief summary of the program. It's a fascinating program, and I had no idea. My kids did not tell me anything. The overall goal of the program is to help students develop strong moral values, academic efficiency, and skills related to conflict resolution. So I want you to focus on the word conflict resolution. Additionally, they want the students to ponder their future, think about opportunities that best fit them. In participating, students learn the values such as respect, honesty, and responsibility. The lessons they receive is a mix of instruction and includes motivational videos, student discussion, and collaborative and individual projects. The program is covered through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. What I found fascinating was probably conflict resolution. I know for myself, that's not something I necessarily knew until I hit corporate America, where as part of human resources, you're required to take conflict resolution courses and manage conflict, especially amongst your peers if you work in a big team. So it's great to see that not only are they focused on developing better humans, obviously, but they're also learning how to work with each other at a very young age, which is going to carry them for the rest of their lives. So it's a very fascinating program. I did not know, again, my kids don't tell me anything. The only other thing I'm going to mention, but Councilwoman Kent will speak more to, is that they had the Teen Cert graduation ceremony as well. And I'll leave it at that. I'm pretty sure Councilwoman Kent will mention that. So moving on to March 12th, this is the good one. This is the 24-25 tentative budget was approved. The total budget for the district is a little over 42 million. The tax levy is about a little over 26 million, and the increase percentage-wise is 2%, which averages out to 147 per household. Again, this is tentative, this can change. I believe they have to get it done before May to have the final one that they have to set off to the county. I just want to review some of the, or go over some of the capital projects they have slated for 24-25. Lakeside Turf Field bleachers, Lennox synthetic turf, PLHS culinary room flooring, PLHS STEM room upgrade, PLHS rooms 20-22 flooring, business office, CST Lennox second floor hallway flooring, a lot of flooring, Lennox boiler room hallway abatement, and Lincoln School office upgrade other. The total for all of those capital projects going into 24-25 will be $1.3 million. And lastly, the school district is also seeking a part-time music teacher. Music program is growing. For more information, please contact the Board of Education office or visit the district website. And that'll do it for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. And I just want to remind the public, the school, of course, does their own budget. We have no ties with them in doing budgets together. Whatever they come up with is independent of what we do, and whatever we do is independent of what they do. So, you know, I know they're working hard too, and we have a great school system, so we should all applaud the fact that we have such a good school system. Councilwoman Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, thank you, Michael, for a budget presentation that was understandable. It's a lot of big numbers, so thank you very much for all the graphics. I did attend this community emergency response team. Now, and they had a certification, and they presented the Teen Cert group, kids that were from the high school. And what they did is they honored them by giving them their merit awards that they earned, and they received their green shirts. And what that does is, in times of emergencies, they'll work with the police and the fire department and the ambulance squads, with just helping, I guess, with where to go, telling people what to do. If you have a problem with flooding, they'll come and they'll maybe stand on the corners and give people directions. And the high school kids were amazing. I was very honored to be, I just spoke and I just basically thanked them for their hard work. It's wonderful to hear that the high school students are actually involved in community programs like this. And our CERT team folks also were there to just support their community involvement as well. So I was very proud to be a part of that. Because of that, I have been a CERT member with the New Jersey State Police many, many years ago, back in the 90s. Well, I ended up joining. So now that was so inspiring. I am now on the CERT team as well.
How many kids was it?
10.
I think 10,
That's
10 or
right.
11.
11? I think it was the first graduating class of that size.
That's good.
Yeah, they were very good. A lot of girls. So I was very
It was
proud.
awesome, just
very
to see a
proud of
sheer
them.
number of high
Couple
school
boys,
students.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And so that was very nice. I attended, because I'm new for the police and the fire department liaison, I did go and meet the first time ever with the ladies auxiliary for the fire department. They're lovely ladies, and they do a lot of work, and they do a lot of fundraising, and they help the fire department when in times of need. So I let them know if they ever need anything, they can contact me. I'm filling Councilman Begg's very large shoes on that group because he was the liaison for over 12 years. So it's going to be an honor to work with the police, the fire, the OEM, and the ambulance squad. I also attended the budget meetings, the police contract meeting, personnel meetings, and the Shade Tree Commission meeting. Mr. Hinton gave a very good summary of what we spoke about, and so thank you, Randy. You stole my thunder a little bit, but that's all right. I'd like to support his recommendation to apply for those grants if we can, and to definitely have an understanding of what this tree program is going to bring to the Shade Tree Commission. They're a very, very hard-working group, and they do a lot of community service for our residents, and we're just not sure how that's going to impact their operations. Just so you know, the Shade Tree Commission, you can't take down a public tree without applying for an application. And I think the concern is, how are we going to work with the new liaison that's going to be dealing with the private trees? So there's a little bit of concern. So if we can all work together, it's going to make the program a lot better. And I support that. I want to, Ms. Shortway comes here once a month, complains about the garbage. I can't agree with her more. This is unacceptable to have garbage floating around the town. It is unacceptable. We've talked about it. We've talked about it with the bid at nausea for 2 years. And it's got to change. And it makes the town look very, very poor. And that is not Pompton Lakes, and it's got to change, whether it's in education or whether it's by fines with the police department. I really don't care how we do it. It's got to get done. I don't care how you do it. It's got to get done once and for all. And that is my report.
Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention in my report, I did have numerous conversations, some with the administrator, some without, with the state about they're coming back in and looking at homes that can be raised in the flood area once again, and they've identified, I think it's 8, is it 8 homes?
Oh.
8 homes that they could raise, and those homeowners were contacted, and right now there is conversation between those homeowners and the state and the feds to make it happen. The difference between this program and the old program is it's 100% covered. The other one was 75%. So anybody who was really looking to get out of that flood waters, now it's 100% coverage. Now's your opportunity to take chance of that. It's very important if that's something you're interested in doing. We did tell them we don't lean towards buyouts. We learned our lesson from the buyouts the last time, and we lose too much in tax dollars when we get rid of these properties. So we're leaning more towards raising the houses and keeping the residents in town than we are of buyouts, because buyouts become an issue for us moving down. So the state was very gracious in meeting with us and the feds to push the program, and I think it's going to work. So I'll update you more as that comes.
Mary, I just remembered
sure.
one thing when you mentioned that. Mary, you were on the call with Michael. We did talk to the United States Department of Agriculture about repairing some of the banks and the trails. And I want to thank you, Mayor, for supporting that whole program. And we are hopefully going to get some funding for that project, because that's very important that we repair the rivers. And that's a very big ticket item for funding. And so I want to thank Michael. He really made an amazing effort to try to reach out to different federal, state, and local groups and county groups just to look for funding. So we're not walking away from this. And Mayor, you've also you promised that we are going to be talking to our legislators. The 26th district is asking for funding for the Peckman River further down off of the Passaic River. So if we can mirror that together, we can marry those two together, we'll have a lot of money coming in. But we're not walking away from this. I want to reassure everybody that.
And we are all aware, because you've seen the letter, we've sent the letter from, that I signed, that was to the DEP commissioner saying we'd like to meet and discuss this, and to date, we haven't heard back. And just today, Assemblyman Weber reached out to say, hey, have you heard back from the DEP? And we told him we did not, so he's going to push from his end to see what he can do to help us with that, so ongoing. Councilwoman Kilberg.
First, I'd like to thank you, Michael, for the amazing budget presentation. It's very helpful for me. Second, I'd like to thank Congressman Pascrell. For those of you who don't know, before I became a councilwoman, I sat on the board of the library for 5 years. And this money is very much needed, and it's going to be greatly appreciated. They'll be thrilled. And I did attend last night's Pompton Day meeting, the first one, and we already have 11 vendors, and I think the fireworks are set, and everything's starting to move. That's my report.
And to add to that, if anybody's interested in being a vendor, please contact Councilwoman Kilberg or Karen Murphy, and we'll hook you up to get you a table. They sell out fast. Councilwoman Polidori.
Thank you. First, something positive I'd like to share with all of you. One of the parents of one of our middle school students reached out to me, and in celebration of everything that we've been hearing of the achievements during Women's History Month, I thought this was a nice time to mention this. We have a student in our middle school. Her name is Carly Naples. This past weekend, she wrestled in the USAWNJ Scholastic State Championship. Carly was a wrestler, and entering middle school, she was unsure if she wanted to continue. She had tried to encourage other girls to join the team with her, and she moved forward anyway, started training diligently in a private gym, and I'm proud to announce that now, as of this weekend, she is our 2-time state champion. So we're very proud of her. I did mention that to our borough administrator on the way in. And
We will be
discussed
honoring her,
the
yeah.
possibility of doing some type of a proclamation or something, so I am going to connect the parent with our borough administrator so that they can schedule that time, but it's an amazing achievement.
I spoke with the
for
parent
her, so.
today, and we're going to set up a date that's good for her to come in. I spoke
Thank
to
you.
Liz already.
I also attended numerous personnel and budget meetings, so I want to thank you as well. I sat in those meetings with you, and I know how hard you worked on that, and there were a lot of moving parts, and just to echo everyone else's thoughts, that is the first time that we have had a presentation of that detail, not only for the benefit of all of us, for those of us that don't sit in the meetings and see what actually goes on behind the scenes for you to finish that and come to the final product that you did, but for the benefit of the residents that don't really understand the breakdown of the tax dollar and what goes into actually running the borough on the municipal share. So it was really nice to see it done like that. So I appreciate everything you put into that.
Thank you.
And a message from our DPW, they are out repairing potholes, so you will see them out making, fixing that, as well as working very hard to clean the field so that the sports are ready for spring startup. All of our playgrounds are now cleaned and open, and curbside collection for spring cleaning will begin with the April 11 and 12 collections. And that is my report.
Okay, thank you. Attorney, any report?
No report this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Borough Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few quick items to start. I just wanted to echo Councilwoman Polidori's statement on the potholes. The DPW and I set up a new service request module on our website. So any member of the public that sees a pothole, they can go on our website and submit a ticket into us, and we'll take care of it rather than having to call the main office. So that's something we're looking forward to. At the request of Councilwoman Kent, I wanted to reiterate and remind the public, and certainly will do so internally with the borough, but wanted to remind the public that permits are required for events in our public parks. So as a reminder, any person, business, or organization that seeks to use a borough, seeks to use a portion of a borough park must file for a permit in the municipal clerk's office. So we will be following up with that and enforcing that throughout the summer months. That ordinance was adopted last year by the governing body. To echo the mayor's comment on Congressman Pascrell's funding for the Pompton Lakes Library, this year's funding program is now open with our congressmen and our U.S. senators in New Jersey. So on tonight's council meeting agenda, we had 2 grant requests that are going in. The first one is to fund phase 2 of the library, which will consist of the replacement of the slate roof and to redo the inside vestibule. So that grant request is going to be in the realm of $500,000, again, to cover that phase 2 project. So we're going to be submitting for that. And then the second submission to the congressman is going to be for phase 1, 2, and 3 of the Hirschfield Park project. You know, we figured we'd get a request in to try to cover as much money as we can for that project, rather than offset our open space fund. Try to get some extra money in for that project. Can't hurt. And then the last item I had for tonight was a follow-up from our last council meeting on the tree ordinance. So in your packet tonight, I drafted a proposed draft ordinance for your review, and then I also provided a snapshot of all of the surrounding municipalities' fees for the new ordinance. So just to hone in on what we talked about last time, and again to reiterate it, if a resident wishes to take down a public tree, they have to pay a permit fee to the borough. We can either not charge a fee or we can charge a fee. In the table that I provided, for 5 or less trees, all of the municipalities are charging $50 for the permit.
5 or less.
5 or less. Anything over 6 trees, the permit is $10, not per tree, but
Total.
the total cost of the application. Now, with the new ordinance, if you are to take down a tree that is not diseased, is not hazardous, it is a healthy tree, and it's on your private property rather, you do have a requirement under this new state law and state regulation that you either have to replace those trees with new trees on your property, or you have the option of paying a fee to the borough to not replace those trees. If you're doing an addition or you're, putting in a septic system or a pool, you may not want to put back the trees. So the state puts in a fee that we could collect for the resident not to plant the tree. So I provided an analysis of what some of the surrounding municipalities are charging. It looks like, in terms of the survey, the municipalities for trees under 36 inches, it's $75 if you don't want to replace it. For trees over 36 inches, it's $150 per tree if you don't want to
It's
replace
just
it.
one number, it's under or over, that's it? It's
Correct.
So there's no other classifications?
Correct. For a commercial tree on a commercial designated property, the fee to not plant would be $300. That's the proposal. So again, this is kind of a snapshot of the surrounding fees. Oakland charges significantly more than Riverdale and what we are proposing. So we're kind of, on the low end of the fee spectrum for all of these municipalities that adopted this ordinance. Noteworthy here, Pequannock does not charge a fee. So
At all.
their governing body opted not to charge a fee if you don't want the plant. They kind of left it open-ended. In terms of enforcement, I don't, necessarily know how you would enforce it. So I'm recommending a fee, but we're here to bring it up to the governing body and kind of get your take on, how we want to craft the
Those
ordinance.
numbers he just presented?
I'm good with the recommended amount.
I am too, actually. Anybody else? Good. The only question I had, when you say diseased or dangerous, our forester would have to state that, it wouldn't be the homeowner stating that?
Yeah, so later on in this ordinance draft, it talks about the enforcement mechanism and who the enforcing individual is. It's up to our discretion. It could be, a variety of individuals, but in terms of liability, it's probably best to have a certified, licensed tree expert do all of the permit procedures and site visits to determine if the tree is diseased, is a hazard, then the resident would be exempt from the ordinance.
And
So-
if there's an argument, homeowner says it's hazard, we say it's not, then where do they go with that argument? Or there is no argument?
There is no argument.
There is no argument, it's just, it's
Yeah.
done?
Yeah.
Okay. How's everybody with that? I don't like the whole thing, I'll be honest.
I'm in opposition of the whole thing, so no, I'm voting no. I know we can't get around it, but just as a matter of principle, I don't agree with this being regulated on private property.
All right, so everybody's okay with it? Okay. I mean, the only concern I'm having, and it might put some pressure on the shade tree, I don't want people calling our shade tree, screaming at them because they feel that they made these decisions when they really didn't make these decisions, and there's no arguing with shade tree to say, but look, come look, it's diseased. They have nothing to do with this. They would be out of this procedure completely, and it would be our forest, or whoever we hire from that, and the town at that point.
Correct, and right-of-way trees would still maintain under the jurisdiction of the Shade Tree Commission. They would still be involved in the process, as they do right now.
Any concerns, questions?
I think the shade tree commissioners are concerned with, how do they commingle their comments with the applications? Like, is there going to be a separate application? Because people don't know. I mean, and the application that they have now, my understanding is outdated. It's old-fashioned, it needs to be upgraded, so there's a lot of working parts on this.
And where would these permits come from? They'd have to go to the building department, they'd come to the office?
So we'll have a new application. You'll either check off is it private or right-of-way, and the application will get routed to the correct individual, whether it's the forester or the Shade Tree Commission, to handle out and implement the permit process.
Will there be so the forester will be doing the secretarial work of that also?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like the idea of the whole thing, but we do need to pay for the forester, so.
Yes, of course, yeah.
I mean, so the fee is,
I'm just, again, it's a new procedure. People don't understand it. They're going to want to argue. They're going to want to fight their point. So they're fighting their point with the forester more than anybody else. So that's where it's going to be left then. You know, they're going to come into your office. They're going to come into his office. They're going to come into my office. They're going to go into Mr. Hinton. They're going to call. That's what's going to end up happening from this. I can tell you that right now, but we'll have to deal with that.
Yeah, and in conclusion, we'll refer a draft ordinance to the Shade Tree Commission for review and comment, and we will be on track to introduce at the next council meeting. This has to be adopted by May 1st.
Okay, any questions, concerns? No? Like, did we want to bring up the police thing?
In closed session.
Oh, close, okay. Okay, that's it. That's your report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Motion to open the meeting for public comments. Council President Devine, Councilwoman Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Okay, step up. I was gonna say older, but go ahead, Mr. Hinton, you can go. I didn't say that, he said that. Oh, man.
Talking about this new ordinance, DEP. And, could I have a half hour?
No.
My question was concerning the ordinance 2414, MUA compensation. Is there a percentage on that? Or is that for all the employees? or is that just for the-
They typically do the 3%.
3%?
Yes.
Okay.
So what, that's the understanding.
At least we're having a conversation.
I can't do
Understand
it.
myself.
Also, on ordinance 2417, it says block 2600, lot 2. None of us have tax maps here. What project is that in town? Or is that the one that you had said, the Passaic County Senior Housing Project? Okay. Let's see, an update on Colfax Avenue, drainage, 1,000 something down Colfax towards Oakland, where the storm drain goes through the man's property and goes to the lake. Is there an update on that?
We'll get to it, yep.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Al Evangelista, Emergency Management Coordinator. I just want to piggyback on the comments of a few council people about that Teen CERT team. I had a last-minute emergency. I couldn't be there at the graduation. However, I understand it went very well. Everybody was very excited. The kids were very happy. I just want to mention that last year we started that. We started with 6 kids, and we ended up with 4. This year we started with 10. We were 10 for 10. So we're doing very well. And we're doing well because of the efforts of a gentleman by the name of Matt Foley, who you may know is the culinary arts teacher, well known as Chef Foley at the high school, is very popular with the kids, and anybody else that likes food, I guess, for that matter. But the bottom line is he beat the band to get kids into that program because it just competes with every sport and civic club that we have in school. It's very difficult. And I want to thank Paul Amoroso, obviously, Dr. Amoroso, for working with us. He's always there for us. Mandy Van Derzen, who he assigned and asked to be the intermediary between the board and the board office and our CERT team. Deborah Ross, obviously, who was in charge of said team, CERT team. And I just want to thank the people that instructed, all right, starting with Deborah Ross, the guy in the back over there, Mike Foss, who's on our first aid squad, so he helped with the EMS instruction. By the way, Chef Foley himself is an EMT, which is what we were looking for as the leader of the band over there. Pardon my reference to the band. Oh, let's see who else. Myself, Dan Cottrell. All right, Sergeant Cottrell was very involved this year in terrorism. He took the terrorism course. And Zach and Nick, Zach Van Derzen and Nick Roberts from the fire department. Kids had a ball over there. We had live fire exercise where they had to actually use a real fire extinguisher. And it just brings, it brings not only a level of education to the kids who may go home and tell their parents, by the way, what they learned, but more importantly, they may grow into our community to the point where they join the fire department and first aid squad. We've seen that many, many times. So very, very happy with that program. Thank you for everybody for supporting it. Hopefully we can keep it going. My last thing is next Wednesday is the seminar. Emergency Awareness Seminar right here in this room, 7 o'clock. What I'm going to try to do is tailor it to that booklet that everybody finds when they have to get halfway through the calendar. Okay, we had a lot of comments about that from new residents this year. They never knew that flood awareness booklet is in the middle of the calendar. Liz and I have discussed this. So what I'm going to do is put the focus on that booklet in the calendar, highlight some things in it that people have to know, in particular new residents. We're going to reach out through the schools, as Dr. Rimros always does for me. He always pumps that information out through their systems of notifying the parents, and we'll see if we can't get the room.
It's a good time right now.
So yes, and the atmosphere is there, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session? Council President Devine, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Mr. Hinton, yes, that is the senior housing project over on Ringwood Avenue that we're talking about. The Colfax project, we are still in discussion, but I'm going to let Michael talk. We're still going back and forth with the homeowners, but you can add what you want on that.
Thank you, Mayor. We have draft easement agreements that will be provided to the governing body at your next meeting for consideration. That will allow us access onto the Colfax Ave properties to repair our pipe. And I'm finally in receipt of cost estimates from both neighbors to rehab their properties as a result of our collapsed pipe. Something that we will have to consider with our capital budget, in our flooding and stormwater management accounts. So we're looking to move on that this spring.
Good. Mr. Evangelista, of course, I thank you for the CERT team. I mean, they're the quiet group that does what we need when we need them. They're there, they're always responsive. When we have an event, I can always count on them to help us in any way. They're never asking what they have to do. They just say, tell me what to do, and we'll do it. So having these young kids that Councilwoman Kent and Councilman Cruz were talking about, it's great to see. And I agree with you 100%. They get the bug, they like it, they join the first aid squad, they join the fire department. These are all good things. They're all from town. So it's a great program all around. So I appreciate all the time you put in and everybody else puts into that. Okay, privilege of the floor. Motion to close the public session.
So moved.
Council
Second.
President Devine, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Privilege of the floor. Anybody privilege of the floor?
The only thing I wanted to bring up, I know Michael's been working on this, the guardrail along Lakeside Avenue. We've had the assessment on that, and it's not a good assessment.
No, it's not.
Okay, no, so it's not in this year's budget. However, we could discuss it, we are going to discuss it because a part of that is on the open space area, and that area does not have a guardrail, it has a very broken fence. The engineer recommended that the fence be taken down, but we kind of wait till at least we decide what we're going to do with the guardrail. So that is something that at some point we have to address because that's our property.
Yes.
And I think it was $13,000 for the portion of the fence removal and replacement, but for the entire Lakeside Avenue, except for the part that's a part of the county, I believe that was a $78,000 assessment for
number.
replacement. I don't know how we're going to handle that.
Well, we'll talk about
We looked at that last year with
Right.
the previous administrator. She did apply and we were denied.
it. All right, so something we'll have to discuss.
We're going to have to discuss that. Thank you.
Okay, motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Councilwoman Polidori, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you, everyone. We're going to have to go into closed session.
I'll be back.
Present.
In closed session, we discussed personnel matters. Okay, personnel negotiation?
Yes.
Yes, personnel negotiation. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, we're off.
Yeah, my view is.
Okay, I'm not out yet. Wait a minute.
Thank you.